Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world, and welcome to Thursday. We're going to start today by looking at where we're up to with the Orca build. Now, in case you don't know what's going on here, we had the Sprueverse challenge. Now, if you don't know who Sprueverse is Phil Siegel. He's actually building the same model as me. As a matter of fact, this is his challenge. So he got me the model, and in November, he brought it over to the UK for us, and we're actually building the Orca from Jaws together. Now, Phil's actually ahead of me at the moment, and his last video is up here, so you can check out where he is at the moment. But I wanted to give you an update of where we are with the model in the World of Wayne studio. Now, I've been battling big time, and I'm glad that Lou Dalmaso has had a conversation with me about the continuity of the film, because some things that you see on the boat are in some scenes and not at the end. And Lou's advice was, as long as you can justify where it is in the film, don't worry about it, because it is a rabbit hole you don't want to go down, because things just keep changing, and then you think, is it screen specific? I don't know. And the whole idea was this, just to try and get as much detail as we possibly could in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the model down into the certain sections that I've been working on to show you where I've come since the last stage. And I think we're going to do that by starting with the mast. So this is what the mast is looking like at the moment. Now, it is still missing some details. I've got to fabricate a little wind vane above this light here. I know we've got the weather vane there. We've sort of got like a wind vane here. Obviously, I've got some spotlights to put in just underneath these two sections here. The rigging needs to be put on. Talking about rigging, I need to put rigging on between these sections here, which means I need to put an eye hole just into this section here. And as you can see now, we have got the winch on and the brackets. I haven't glued this bottom bracket down because I have got a mast base to go on, and I want to make sure that's in the right place. That's actually going to pin that into place. As a matter of fact, that's fallen off. I'm going to need to glue that back on again. As you can see, it wasn't on tightly anyway. The other thing that I've done here, as you can see, is the rungs are now in. Now, those rungs, as you mentioned in the last video, are just these Danish, L-shaped nails. I think they've gone really good there. But I'm really happy with how the master's turned out. On the other side of those nails, because there's no head on them, I've just used some black paint and I mixed it with wood glue just to make some little bolts that have gone into the other side. Now, this might need weathering up a bit, but it's looking pretty cool, isn't it? Now, there's a couple of other things that aren't on here at the moment that need to be put on here. And that's basically, we've got a spotlight that needs to go around about here. And then finally, just down, probably around about here, we've got a golden bell to put on as well. But I'll do that later. But that is how the mast is looking like with the weather vane at the moment. So the next thing to look at is the flybridge. Now, this is the base for the flybridge, and you can see I've got some pencil marks in here. This is just so I know where this is going to fit over the top, and it's quite important for a couple of reasons. First off, when I've got this on, as you can see, I've already painted this. I've roughed up the area here where the ladder's going to be, and I've also roughed up the area here where someone stands. So if you have a look on the close-up camera, it now looks like some wear and tear is on that section there. This still needs to be weathered up a lot more. None of the boat that you're going to see at the moment is weathered. What I tend to do is I paint it in the schemes it's meant to be, then weather it afterwards. So that's the fun bit. You'll see some of the things that I've done with that later on. But this is how the flybridge is going to go. This will be the last thing that I do. Now, if you look at this flybridge in detail, you'll notice a couple of things. We've got a horn on here. All of these are part of the resin mould. We've also got some navigation lights, but you can see mine are chipped and broken. And I believe it's the same on the other side here. You see it's a little bit chipped. Now, thank you to Phil over on Sprueverse. He's actually sent me some replacement navigation lights. Let me show you what these look like. There you go. Check that out. So obviously they need to be painted, but these are an exactly, it doesn't get more exact than this, replacement for those. Look, they're exactly the same size and everything. So I'm just going to basically file these off and stick these in this place and get these painted. I'm going to be doing the same thing with the horn, and I've got a nice brass horn looking like that. It's going to attach with that lug just there, and if you see the horn there again, it's a direct replacement. Look, it's going to go just over the top, exactly the same size. We really got lucky with some of these items being exact replacements. And then obviously all I need to do is put the dials in, the wheel. There is a lot of detail to go in here. But the reason why I'm leaving this to last is mainly to do with the electrics. Now, as you can see, I've got a lamp already in here at the moment. And this is going to fit over the banquette area. And I was wondering how I was going to power this. So what I decided to do is when the flybridge, as you can see here, is on here. It goes on or something like that there. There is a box, and you can see in the picture here, that there is a box that fits just in this section here. So I've been scratch building a box that I'm going to keep the battery in. Now the advantage of doing that is that the lead for the light has only got to go from this point here to this point here. That's it. And it's going to be powered by a switch just here. Now I've started to make the box, and I've got a quick video just showing you me cutting out the wood. So once that's done, this is kind of like what the box is looking like. Now what I did was I broke open one of my tester battery boxes, pulled out the internals. So I've got a switch in here now, and I've got all the contacts in here. The wires are coming out the bottom, so I will need to drill a small hole just into the base of the flybridge there, just to go in. And it's going to be powered by an MN21, I think I've got it the right way around, battery that just fits into that little gap there. Now as you can see to my finger here, it's probably about 2.5 inches long. It's not long at all, and I have put hinges on it, as you can see here, so I'll be able to have a working section here which can go up and down. And as you can see on the top, that's the hinges in the down position. So this obviously needs staining, but when the top is on, it's going to look kind of like that. Obviously this needs painting and everything as well, and it is going to enable me, if I need to change the battery, just to open that up, change the battery, and then I can close it again. Pretty fun. Anyway, so when that's on, as I said, it's going to go fit in here, just give you an idea, kind of like that in there. Excellent. Now since the last video, as you can see, the interior panel now has a porthole on, and the painting's been done with the trim on the outside. I did this on the Patreon stream last night, and as you can see, this is just me painting the trim using the same lacquer paint that I've been using for the red around the boat at the moment. And I'll talk about that paint when I talk about the boat, but that is how that is looking. And then I've got a real porthole for the other side here, which I replaced the one that was there. I folded off, and as you can see, this has got a little catch on, so I can open it up and I can close it. Now there are a couple more details which still need to go on this section here. I've got this tiny fire extinguisher. It needs to be painted. That's just going to go into the door channel there. And then over on this section, I've got one of my viewers, Chris Hurst, printing these for me. But I've got either a barometer or a clock, I think it is here. And then we've got a first aid box. Everything else here is actually covered by the banquette, so you don't see that. The glazing is in there. As you can see, we've got glass in there. And then that's what that looks like from the other side. Now, this is what I'm talking about continuity. Obviously, this is where the smokestack's going. And at the end of the film, this hasn't got anything on at all. It looks just like that. But through most of the film, you have got a heat shield behind it. So I need to paint a heat shield just on that before I put that in. So let's bring over the Orca and show you where we're up to. As you can see, I basically painted the colour scheme that this is going to be. Now that's just a base colour at the moment. I've got my wooden deck in here with the hatches. I've done the banquette, and probably this is best on the side camera there. That's all in place. The table's fixed in. Everything you see here, apart from the maps, is fixed in. Now what I'll do is I'll turn it round so you can see the close-up camera here. And this is what the interior is looking like. I've done a lot of work on this. As you can see, we've got dials in here now. Now these dials are basically on a sheet, looking just like these. I've got these from Cornwall Model Boats. And I just cut out the dials that I need, and they're just like sticker decals, and put those into place. Phil, if you're watching this, you've got some of these on the way. I did also order some bezels, which I haven't used, but you never know, they might come in for another build. They're just gold or brass and silver bezels. They're exactly the same way that you can take them off and put them round, but because they're so small on this model, I couldn't use that. I've created my own decals. You've got one here. I just turn that round a bit. You've got the warning label on the side of the control panel there, which basically says about dumping oil into the ocean. And there's also one on the stove there at the back. Funny enough, because they go small, it doesn't really matter what you put on them. So just for transparency, this is a control of substances hazard to health warning label. So I'll put that on there. The warning label here, I've got warning at the top, and then the rest of this that you can't read, but the rest of it is basically the synopsis of the film Jaws. So I could have put the correct things in there, but I just wanted to make it my own. But you're never going to read whatever I put there anyway. Obviously, you've got the CB radio there. The only other things that go here are some bottles, and I'm going to show you some of those things that I've got already. Obviously, we've got the linkage that Phil was talking about in his video here. I'm only going to have this going into this cabin. This won't be going into the flybridge. I've got some maps there. These are real books from a doll's house. The water butt there, which I've created my own logo on, because you can't really see what the logo says in the film. And obviously all the dials are in place. But I'm really happy with how that interior's looks now. Now, just show you on the main camera now, some of the painting at the side. Now, as you can see, I've started to weather up the bottom by chipping. It's going to need a lot more chipping, and all I've been using is sandpaper, anything sharp I can get my hands on, to be honest with you. I'll be doing that into the red, and then the colour that you can see on the top here is quite light. That's going to be dulled down as I weather the top. I haven't even started to do that yet. All I have been doing is I've painted this front section here. Again, that's going to probably need another coat. I'm not happy with the finish on that, but that is how we're looking at the moment. I still need to paint the back here, which is basically like a wood, pretty much what we've done with the interior of the cabin. And then the letters here are brass, and I've got some brass paint for that, which I'll weather up as well. And then the fun starts. We get to weather it up with salt. I've got rust coming. Actually, I've got some rusting agents over here, so it makes it look like there's corrosion. This thing needs to look absolutely filthy. The only other thing I've got to do is this area here. I'm going to try and hold it on the camera for you. As a matter of fact, let's get this on the top camera. This will explain it better. It's completely and utterly wrong, and Phil does talk about this in the video, that the barrels don't start from where this middle end barrel is. They start from this one, so the barrels come out to about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just paint over all of this, then put some real planks in here to hide these little notch holes here, and then I'm going to just glue the barrels down into a frame which I've got to make. Now, if you look at some of the continuity here, that in this picture, the frame that holds the barrels is only sort of like a semicircular with long poles down the end. And then at the end, it's a complete sort of like semicircular tablet shape thing. So just like Phil, I think I'm not going to have the round section at the end here. I think I am just going to have it as it was when they see the shark for the first time. Now, I've primed up some other pieces here, which are going to be for the front. Not quite sure what way round this goes. I'm guessing it goes kind of like that, but this is going to be going on like that. I'm just trying to figure out what way it goes. Perhaps it does go that way. That way makes more sense. I don't know, I'll figure that out later. But that's what that's going to look like when it's in place. It's looking more like the boat now. Obviously that needs to be painted and stained, and I'm going to keep with that mahogany theme. The mahogany colour is absolutely brilliant for this. While I'm on the cabin side, just so you know, some of the skills that I learnt with the DC3 is I made these knobs by dipping the pins in some wood glue, waiting till you get a bulbous end, and then painting them. So that's how we've managed to get those so small there. So I'm going to put this to one side, and I'm just going to talk about the door. This is what the door looks like. I've only primed it at the moment, but I will be taking this handle off and putting a proper handle on the door. If you remember in the last video, I told you some scenes you've got a handle, some scenes you've got a knob. This one's going to have a handle on it, and obviously I've got to glaze the door. The door is going to be in an open position, so when we've got this looking like that, the door will be going in kind of like that, there in the open position, held in with a bit of rope. But that's looking pretty cool at the moment. In the interior of the cabin, I've got some bottles, which I'm still got to paint up. They look just like this. But I've also ordered some stuff, and Phil, once again, if you are watching this, you've seen this already. You've got one of these on the way. Look at that, the tiniest bottle of Jack Daniels you're ever gonna see. So I've got a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I've got some more Corona beer bottles coming, which I'm just going to scatter around that interior cabin. So detail, detail, detail. Now there's one last thing, one last update, apart from doing the weathering and putting the portholes in and, you know, doing all of that I'm going to do. And this is a bit crazy. And that involves the chum barrels. Now I did tell the peeps last night on the Patreon stream what I intend to do. Now these chum barrels basically go into this area of the boat here. And basically you've got two in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that in the picture here. But these are slightly too small. They actually need to be less height and a little bit thicker. So I'm not going to use these. In fact, what I did on the Patreon stream last night, as you can see here, is I did a computer-aided design. And I showed the patrons how I did that. To create my own chum barrels, and there's a reason why I'm doing that, and it's all because me and Phil are crazy. We're absolutely crazy, but this is something that I wanted to do. I've got loads of leftover resin from the Jaws build that we did, the diorama build with Hooper in the shark cage, and if you haven't seen that, there is a playlist up here for that as well. I want to use some of that resin for something, so I figured what better way to use that resin than to have a nice fish dinner one night. Cut up the skin, you know, that nice silvery sort of scale skin. Stick some of the guts and skin in here and then fill it full of resin. So then I can say my chum barrels have got real fish in it. Obviously it's encased in resin. It's not going to smell or anything, but I just think that would be a novel little thing to do. So this is what the chum barrel looks like at the moment. And when I've actually completed the other chum barrels, because it is being printed for me by Chris Hurst, one of the viewers, from the design that we've got, then we're going to have some real fish chum barrels. I'm also going to be having some handles on that, and the handles are going to have this sort of wire in them, so it looks like that it has got the wire around that. Now, not all the chum buckets had this. The one that he's actually using when they see Jaws for the first time, when they see the shark for the first time, doesn't have these, but the ones that are actually underneath the thing, they do. So, but again, continuity. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the chum barrels. So in the next week, the whole thing I want to do, I want to get this completely weathered up, and I want to get this side of the boat sealed up. So that means that we've got this attached, we've got the door in place. So then I'm ready to start working on the fly bridge, the masting, the front area, all of that. I think at the moment we have come a long way, but there's still a long way to go. I don't know when this is going to be finished, because this is one of these projects that just keep on giving, a bit like the ET spaceship. I can keep adding and adding and adding details for that, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Some things are going to be quite quick to do, things like the shark cage. It's already sort of like pre-made for us, so we can just spray paint that. But I do have to fabricate the ladders, and I'm using some 1.5 meter brass rod, just like Phil did over on the Sprueverse channel for that. And I've also got to create some rails for the for this deck here, so that you can actually walk out on that. The rails that I've got for the barrels I'm actually 3D printing, so I've got a design for that, and I'll be getting that onto the printer. But if you are interested in how I do the computer aided design, it's dead easy using a program called Tinkercad. Then that's all on my Patreon channel, and you've seen a quick snippet of that on today's video. But I really do hope you like that update. I hope that we're a lot further forward in the next video, but I really am enjoying this, and I hope you are too. I hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.